This is Euclid Book 6, definition number 3, and I'm going to address Booba 1067 directly because I'm going to send this to Booba 1067. The reason I'm going to do this is because this particular person has been watching my Euclid's Elements, and she wanted to know which ones of these are some of the most important ones. And this definition is definitely very, very important, and I hope she watches. I just hope this is being watched. Now you see this figure right here, and I'm going to tell you this definition, and then I'm going to tell you why we have this particular figure. This one should look familiar to you, and I'll explain that in just a second. But the definition goes like this. A straight line is said to have been cut in extreme and mean ratio when, as the whole line is to the greater segment, so is the greater to the less. Okay. That's the definition. Now, let me do this. We have hang on. Sorry about that. We have A, B, and C. Alright? Now, this whole figure right here should look very, very familiar to you because this is the one from Euclid Book 2, proposition number 11. Alright? Now what we have done here is we have constructed a 2-inch square. This line is 2 inches long, this line is also 2 inches long, so on and so forth, all the way up through here. So we got 2 inch by 2 inch by 2 inch by 2 inch. Now, at the 1 inch mark, this is from here to here is 1 inch, and from here to here is 1 inch. We drew a little point here, and from that point we drew a line from here all the way up to C. This line is 2 1/4 inches. Okay? And then we drew another line 2 1/4 inches up like this. Okay? All the way up here. And since this is 1 inch here, this ended up being 1 1/4. So we have 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4. Alright. And then we drew this line, and we drew it all the way from up here, all the way straight down. Now here's the thing. By doing so, we have cut this 2-inch line into 2 parts. This part is 1 1/4, AB is 1 1/4, and BC is 0.75. Okay? This is 1 1/4, this is 3/4. 1 1/4, 3/4. Why is all this important? Because of what the definition actually says. Now I'm going to read this definition to you one more time. Hang on. I'll go back over here. It says, a straight line is said to have been cut in extreme and mean ratio when as the whole line is to the greater segment, so the greater is to the less. The whole line to the greater segment. Now what we're doing is we're establishing a ratio here. Do you remember ratios from Euclid Book 5? If you don't, go back to Euclid Book 5. But the whole line is AC. The whole line is to the greater. Well, the greater is AB. Because AB is part of AC. So there's a ratio of the whole line to the greater segment as the greater segment is to the less. So, as I'm going to write this down. As 2 is to 1 1/4, so as 1 1/4 is to 0.75. Now I know you're saying, well, that when we calculate it out, it's not exactly the same. Technically, you're correct. Okay, if you divide 2 by 1.25, you're going to get 1.6. And if you divide 1.25 by 0.75, you'll get 1.66666, and so on and so forth. So that is about as close as you're going to get to what Euclid was saying, unless you wanted to go with a little more precise math. And if you want to go ahead and do that, that's fine. But this is about as close as you're going to get to these two ratios being equal. Okay? So as this is to this, so as this is to this. And this is pretty accurate. Like I said, if you want to go a little more precise, that's fine, but this is about as close as you're going to get to the ratio that Euclid was talking about in Euclid Book 6, definition number 3. So, when you see this line, this AC cut into AB and BC, as the whole line is to the greater, so the greater is to the less. And that's what he was saying in the Euclid proof. So, thank you, Booba1067, for tuning in. And I highly recommend that you tell everybody about this particular, it's not really a proof, it's a definition, but they really need to know this, because if they don't, they'll never really understand Euclid Book 6 whatsoever. So, there you have it. I will tell you more in the next video. Stay tuned.